Claire Muldoon is with us looking at the big stories of the day. And this one, 3 years to save Britain, Claire. A top army chief has warned Russian reprisals for aiding Ukraine is imminent and calls for rearmament. But is Britain's military too broken and rusty to fight anymore?
Bugler, play.
Now that, of course, is... it Ain't Half Hot, Mum really was worth a watch, of course. They can't show it anymore because apparently it's got too many inappropriate references. And you can't call people some of those things any longer without going to jail. But you are forced to wonder, is that kind of about the credibility of our armed forces? Is that what we're going to be left with if we don't start, you know, somehow putting the right amount of money in to fund the thing?
No, of course not. It's all rhetoric. General Rowley Walker has come out today and said that, you know, the army has gone down in this country, the resources, the people have gone down from 85,000 to 72,000 or something, and it's way off what we need to hit the target of 2025. The reality is our GDP at the moment in spending on defence is 2.3%. And it's said, and it's been researched, and it's been shown that we must be spending 2.5 at least, or a bit more. There's a recruitment issue as well for the army services. But when we look at the £800,000 that was spent on the King's coronation, we look at the beautiful pomp and ceremony that this country does incredibly well, that links history to the present, and going forward, we do have magnificent staff. We do have a magnificent army, navy and air force. Yeah. But the reality is the world is changing. The world is in a horrible position at the moment globally, what with geopolitics and wars and everything going on. So we really have to take this seriously.
Every time that somebody throws up there's two examples of this. When you look at money that's wasted elsewhere, governments always come back and go, oh, yeah, but in the grander scale, it's not that much. But if you add it all together, and I'm just thinking, two Choppers Charlie, our king, who's going to be the recipient of 2 new helicopters, plus some Bentleys and stuff. And you just referred to it there, Claire. If you kind of add all that up, and then I'm looking at the BBC story yesterday of how many hundreds of millions of pounds are spent on the top sort of 50 earners, that you can't really justify. Although in the grander scale of the media, they're not high compared to the commercial world, but they are high because we are paying for it. If you began to look at that and go, you know, the army needs this money, not Gary Lineker.
Yeah, but also, Ian, defence was never discussed post-election, pre-election. There was never discussed in the hustings. There was meetings between Republican ambassadors that came over to this country and had chats with the Conservative government at the time and warned of China's overtaking of Taiwan, that have warned us of Iran hitting the nuclear button, and nothing yet was done. So now I think it's been made into the public domain, and it really needs to be looked at. Rishi came up with national service to help with feet on the ground. I don't know if that's going to take off. I personally didn't have such a bad reason not to do that. But, you know, it's more than feet on the ground. It's more than missiles. It's more than arms. It's an attitude. Britain have always historically been extremely strong. And the RAF have been in reconnaissance out in Taiwan for a myriad of years now. So we know what's going on. We've got the intelligence. I think we really have to have a grown-up conversation and a good sit-down and actually things put in place, and defence budgets and defence spending has to increase in order for Britain to remain in NATO and for it to still remain a decent working power.
Well, the new Defence Secretary, John Healey, has been out and about. He's doing a kind of super tour of European countries, a bit of a 48-hour diplomatic blitz. He's now hailing a new contract, a new security pact between Britain and Germany. He says it's the first steps towards a deep new defence relationship between the two countries. And now he's visiting other countries as well. So he's, you know, doing that bit of it. I don't know whether this takes us into a sort of European defence force. Well, maybe it's a bit of Labour getting us back in again from the back door into the...
Oh, no, Ian, stop scaremongering.
Come on.
Stop scaremongering.
You know what's going on, Claire Muldoon. You're in denial. What's wrong with you?
I'm Scottish. But the problem is that war has changed. The whole panorama of war has changed now. It's become so much more expert, if I can say that. You know, there's drones, there's... satellites, more than the old infantry and cavalry that were sent out, you know, and it's just, the whole vista has changed. Yeah. But I do think that defence spending has to increase, you know, to ward off or even to, it's all about signalling, isn't it? Yeah. It's all about sending out the signs. And I think we should withdraw from Ukraine and put our money domestically and get us fit and strong to fight.
That is an argument that appears to be gaining more momentum by the day. Interesting. And if Donald Trump is elected, I think that argument becomes, well, it will either accelerate the rest of... Well, it will either accelerate the rest of the world to put more money in because America will say, we're not getting involved in this, or it will be a catalyst for others to say, you know, this is not a bottomless pit. We can't keep, to the tune of hundreds of millions of pounds, we can't keep doing this.
We really can't. And let's hope so.
Indeed, we'll watch with interest. Claire, thank you as ever. That's the writer and broadcaster Claire Muldoon.